Fueled by Deathcast.
So what we're doing on the site is called conflict archaeology. Conflict archaeology. And that's why we use metal detectors. Like, we don't dig very much. We just do metal detector sweeps across the entire site. That lets us pick up the musket balls or the nails, as you saw for yourself. And the distribution patterns of those items across the battlefield, that's what tells what actually happened. So it might feel like you're just pulling up a nail or a musket ball or whatever case shot, but when you put all those things together on a map, you can pretty much tell the story of a German captain pulling his cannons across the line in order to reinforce his men and to fire more shot into the American lines. And you can kind of get a sense of, like, these American soldiers, you know, fighting against the British, who were the big dog in their day. These guys had to be incredibly intimidated and incredibly terrified. So you get a sense of them, you know, ramming their shot down their barrels and shooting that off into the lines, because you find those bullets in a line formation that they've either dropped or that they fired. So yeah, you can tell the story of the battlefield with this stuff.
I was so interested in that because not only, I mean, and this is for people who might not even understand this, not only are you out there on the field finding this stuff, then you have to go through cleaning it, cataloging it, and that kind of stuff. And you were showing us, you know, like, you find musket balls that obviously have impacted something, you know, because they're depressed, they have their oblong now, they hit a wall, or they hit a person maybe, or they hit something, and it changed the shape of it. But then you found ones that are pristine, and like you said, that could literally be from somebody scared at shitless trying to get their musket ball. Because it's hard. I mean, as good of a technology as muskets were back in the day, it was very hard to load those things, especially quickly during war.
Yeah, so like, we actually got a chance to go and fire muskets a couple of days ago with a local volunteer group.
Oh, that
which
must
was
have been cool.
Pretty cool as well. But you know, all of our guys have like infantry backgrounds. All of us have fired guns before. Like, I grew up with guns myself, even though I'm Air Force. So I've fired a lot of guns. Those are not easy guns to shoot. I mean, there are a lot of steps involved in making that thing work. And trying to do that while you're under fire, like I can't even imagine. But yeah, when you find that like musket ball that's completely pristine, it really makes you think, like, wow, is this some like 15-year-old kid that was just trying to like fire off another round as fast as he could and dropped it in place, you know, because we find them in like lines. So we know that these guys are like lined up and they're firing, you know, obviously, you know, if you've seen pictures, you know that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
but you find these like unfired balls in a line, and it's like, man, these guys must have just been, the last person that touched this thing was probably in dire terror, the most terror they'd ever faced in their life. That was the last person to touch that before we did. And that's pretty cool.
That is cool. And it's cool how it tells the story of the battlefield too, because you guys are learning things that no one's known. We knew that the battlefield was there. We knew that the battle happened, but now that you're mapping it out, we're getting new insights into how that battle actually transpired, and that is exciting in and of itself.
Yeah, and so the thing is, we don't actually know exactly where that battle occurred.
Other than it's on the field. We knew it was in this area.
In the area, yeah. But like, the Park Service has basically come in and said, yeah, we think the battle was right here, so we're going to cut the trees in this area to make it look battlefield-like. But really, we're not entirely sure about where that battle was out there. So probably some of those battle lines are in what are tree lines today. So we're actually metal detecting in the tree lines as well to catch those battle lines, because right now it's an approximation, and that's what we hope to continue doing in the future too, is revealing more what the battle actually looked like, as opposed to, you know, what it kind of looks like right now. It's a different thing.
It's so cool. And can you walk us through a little bit what we got to see out there? You guys are, some of the different tech that you're using, because you are using the metal detectors, which I got to use the handheld one, which was really rad.
Yeah.
But you have other ones too, right?
So actually, there's an incredible amount of tech. Like, archaeology is so tech heavy right now. Like, if you're thinking Indiana Jones archaeology out, you know, in the desert with pickaxes and shovels, like, yeah, we do that too, and that's also fun. But that's not all it is now. So before we ever showed up, there was a drone that overflew the entire battlefield that shot science called LiDAR down into the ground. And that gave us like a super precise topo map. If you've ever seen some of the stuff being done in like Honduras to find lost cities, same thing, because it doesn't show foliage, it shoots through it. So you can shoot through a forest and it gives you all the lumps and bumps on the ground. So that was done before we ever showed up.
Wow.
We show up out here, we do our really precise metal detector survey in lanes that is laid on top of that topo map. So that gives us the distribution of the finds in those lanes. But then we also do what's called ground penetrating radar, where you run a cart across the battlefield, and that picks up things like walls or possibly graves. Although not in this case, but it'll pick up density differences in the ground. So all these things are being added in together to give us this extremely precise map of the battlefield to where we can read that story.
And yeah, pull it right up, and you want some gloves? Nah. Still in there. Yep. Okay, let's switch jobs.
All right.
Sounds good.
So, it's like a little miniature metal detector. Swing it around in there. Awesome. Easy.
Oh, a nail!
Got a nail!
Got a nail!
Don't lie.
They don't. They just make it a really hard time sometimes.
So Joel, with everything we talked about this morning, I need your wish list of things.
Oh my god!
I need your wish list of things for every day.
We've got a nail!
Sometimes you need magnifying glass. I'm not kidding.
The massage thing, you guys think I'm joking about it, but it's gonna happen.
Spreadsheet that I gave you.
Woo!
Look what you found.
Oh my god!
Put that up to the camera.
Brad, do you have a pencil at all?
What is it?
It's a nail!
You got a nail?
Look to the left of the barrel, or the